So guys, new missiles are being leaked by the main leakers, right? For helicopters, air-to-ground missiles are going to be a little bit better for some nations, including the Chinese, the Russians, and the Americans. I mean, the Americans, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but we were going to talk about it. So let's talk a little bit about these new missiles and, how they're going to change and if they're going to be OP or anything with that, okay? So let's start with the Russians. So the Russians got the LMUR or the LMUR or LMUR or whatever you want to call it, the new air-to-ground missile that looks like a little bit with a KH-29 coming for the helicopters, specifically the Mi-28NM. So the Mi-28 is getting a new missile that is going to be very, very advanced. It has a 14.5 kilometer range, so much better than most of the missiles that you see there. Of course, it doesn't fly as fast as some of the other missiles. It's 230 meters per second, but still. And this has a very interesting seeker. So it has a normal optical / thermal imaging seeker, okay? But also, it has two different modes to guide it. So the first mode is just, mark the target with the TV seeker, lock on, fire the missile, fire and forget, you turn away, the missile will destroy the target. The second one is that this missile has a two-way inertial navigation together with satellite navigation, but data link together with the aircraft. What that means is that the operator of the missile can actually change where the missile is going while it's flying with a TV system. So kind of like those TV missiles that we had in Battlefield 3, for example, right? So you can guide it and, just show where the missile is going and just control the missile, basically, right? Apparently, that's how it is. And, yeah, 14.5 kilometers with such a guidance system will be very, very interesting. Of course, it uses a shaped charge warhead, and we don't know exactly what is if it's a shaped charge, HE, or something like that. They say it's mainly an HE demolition warhead, so let's see how these missiles are going to be added, right? There are even upgrades to it to use a shaped charge. I mean, it's very early in service, this missile. They say they produced around 200 only of these missiles yet, right? So it's a very, very early in production missile. But it is pretty interesting that it's coming, and it is going to improve the capabilities of the Mi-28, in my opinion. It already is one of the best helicopters in the game due to the advanced defense systems that aircraft has. Now with one of the missiles that will be very, very, very strong, right? Then we go for the Chinese. The Chinese have a very interesting missile that was already found in the files a while back. The good old CM502KG, right? This missile was also leaked that is coming for the Z10 ME02. And it is a missile that is a version of the 501s that it's more lightly purposed, right? So this is a light multi-purpose missile, way lighter than some of the other ones. Some of the other ones have like 70 kilometer range, the land-based ones and stuff. So yeah, it's incredible. But this one is kind of a smaller one to be carried on helicopters. And it has an 11 kilogram warhead and also a 25 kilometer range. So this is incredible. I mean, this range is incredible. I couldn't confirm which is the guidance that this thing has. Most sources claim that it has, 3 types of guidance. I didn't understand if, you could actually change the head, the seeker head, or if the missile has, it probably is just that it has multiple seeker heads, and you can choose whatever seeker head you want to put on the missile before the mission. That's kind of how I think it is. It looks like it is like that. So it can be TV guided, imaging, infrared, of course, or it can be cheaper with, semi-active laser. Together, of course, it has GPS, GLONASS, or the Chinese system as well, and inertial navigation, right? So I would assume that they will add some form of TV guidance over here. It feels like it is the trend of these 3 missiles that we're going to talk about. But still, it is something that, it's going to be very scary. 25 kilometers is pretty great for a helicopter missile. I mean, it's probably one of the highest ranges, or the highest range that we would have in the game. And then we have to talk about the Americans. And this is a very, very controversial missile to talk about. So the AGM-179, it was leaked that it is coming in its A model for the Guardian helicopter, right? The new Apache E model that is coming. So what is the problem with this missile? So initially, the initial variants of this missile, they're basically a Hellfire with a major change. The seeker is a dual mode seeker, just like the Brimstone. So it would be able to be used as a laser semi-active missile, also as a millimeter wave radar missile. So we could actually lock on tanks, for example, or structures using radar. But that is not added to the game, guys. Brimstones don't have that because of the amount of friendly fires that would happen from those missiles. And I would assume that this missile will do that as well. Gaijin will probably not add this missile with the radar guidance, which means that if they add the normal variant, it means that it only will have laser guidance and it will have 8 kilometers of range, and it will be pretty much the same missile as later Mavericks, which is kind of sad. What is the good part about all of this is that the Americans didn't put this missile in full service yet. It's very early in its service cycle, and they're still testing a lot of the stuff. So yeah, there is also tests that they're doing since 2022, 2024. So it's very, very very new, all of these. That these missiles, they are being upgraded to have basically 2 other upgrades. One of them would include having a 16-kilometer range for the missile. And another one would include a 3-mode seeker, adding imaging sensors to also the laser and the radar. So what I think Gaijin will do is either have this missile as a normal Hellfire with semi-active laser, or they're gonna use one of these more advanced, low production, testing missiles that didn't properly enter in service yet, which would include extended range to 16 kilometers and also maybe an imaging sensor, right? So again, we don't know yet. We're gonna have to wait and see what Gaijin does, because honestly, the normal missiles would be just an improved Hellfire on its seeker, especially where it has laser guided seeker. But like I said, they are improving these missiles. They're even including these upgrades to the missile to be maybe test. I mean, they already tested out, but maybe include to the arsenal of the F-15 and the Super Hornet, right? So it means that they are working on these missiles still, right? But yeah, something like that could actually happen. So let's not just jump to conclusions right now, okay? This is a very, very early, stage in production missile, and upgrades are still being done, okay? On the very least, it will be a Hellfire. The best, possible scenario is that this missile will be comparable to the LMUR and the CM502, okay? So this is kind of it, okay? So let me know in the comments what you think about these 3 missiles. Will they be OP? I think it's a very big step up from the missiles that we have in the game. Of course, we already have the PARs and stuff, but these ones, they are a little bit of a step up, isn't it? Especially the Chinese one, 25 kilometers. If it has the imaging infrared system, I mean, it's just going to be incredible. And this missile flies above Mach 1. So yeah, it's a very fast missile as well, meaning that it's harder to intercept as well. So yeah, let's see how it is. So the Chinese coming as a winner for now, with the Russians in second and the Americans in third, in my opinion. So let's wait and see. Let me know in the comments what you think about these missiles. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye guys.